What if everything you thought you knew about China was based on the wrong assumptions? For decades, Western leaders, analysts, and media predicted that as China got richer, it would become more like USA and the West, more democratic, more westernized, but that didn't happen. Instead, China carved its own path, politically, economically, and culturally. Here's the truth. You can't understand modern China if you don't understand its past, and you definitely can't predict its future by projecting your own history onto it. The West has long believed in the modernization paradigm, the idea that economic growth naturally leads to liberal democracy. It did happen in Europe. It also happened in Japan and South Korea. So when China began opening up in the 1980s, the expectation was simple: give it capitalism and democracy will follow. But China rewrote the script. Yes, it embraced markets. Yes, it integrated into global trade. But it never copied the West's political model, because it never intended to. Western observers waited for inevitable democratization. But what they saw instead was a government that adapted, centralized, and doubled down on stability and control. Whether you agree with that system or not, you have to recognize China has not failed to westernize. Rather, it has succeeded on its own terms. Western economists often looked at China and asked, how can you have free markets without democracy and free speech? But the Chinese model is not a contradiction. It's a fusion. Massive infrastructure built in months, not years. State-owned giants alongside private innovation hubs. 5-year plans guiding billion-dollar industries. A digital economy growing under government regulation. This isn't chaos. It's coordinated evolution. And while Western systems bend to election cycles, China thinks in 30-year arcs. To call this capitalism with Chinese characteristics doesn't do it justice. It's a unique hybrid, part Confucian, part socialist, part technocratic, part entrepreneurial. And while it's not without problems, it has delivered something undeniable. China has experienced the greatest economic transformation in human history, lifting over 800 million people out of poverty. It is possible that people will demand more individual freedoms in future. Again, whatever changes is something that may be a uniquely Chinese solution. To some in the West, China's rise looks like a threat. Headlines warn of a new Cold War. Military budgets rise. Technology bans spread. Every diplomatic tension is framed as East versus West. But let's take a step back. Yes, China is assertive. Yes, it wants global influence. But this isn't a comic book. There are no supervillains, only superpowers navigating history. China doesn't want to become the next America. It wants to reclaim its place as a central, respected force in the world, a role it held for centuries. What's framed in the West as aggression may sometimes be, in China's eyes, just restoration. This isn't about justifying actions. It's about understanding intent and meaning before jumping to conclusions. Here's the part too often left out of the conversation: history, culture, memory. Most Westerners can name Julius Caesar, but not Qin Shi Huang. They've read Plato, but not Confucius. They've studied the Renaissance, but not the Tang dynasty. China has nearly 4,000 years of recorded history. It invented the civil service, the compass, printing, and paper money, while Europe was still feudal. Its political philosophy prioritizes harmony, hierarchy, and continuity, not ideological revolution. And its historical memory includes a century of foreign humiliation, colonialism, and war. That trauma didn't disappear. It shaped modern Chinese identity. When China builds, when it asserts itself, it's not just about economics. It's about never going back to that era of weakness. Understanding this context doesn't mean endorsing any government or ignoring problems. It means being informed, respectful, curious. Because to flatten a civilization into a talking point is not analysis, it's ignorance. The West tends to look at the world through its own experience. Democracy, individual rights, free markets, These are deeply held values. But what happens when another civilization rises that doesn't share the same path and values, yet still succeeds? Some react with confusion, others with hostility. And yet history is full of parallel systems, competing models, and diverse philosophies. China's rise is not a mirror, it's a window. It challenges the West not by being dangerous, but by being different, and yet effective in its own way. If that's uncomfortable, maybe that's the point. This video isn't a defense of China's politics, and neither is it a criticism of Western values. It's a call for clarity, because misunderstanding fuels fear, and fear blinds us to reality. People in the West don't have to agree with everything China does, but we must try to understand why it does what it does, through its own lens, not ours. Likewise, China too must understand how it's viewed by the world, not just through power, but through perception. Mutual understanding isn't weakness, it's the only way forward. And that begins with history. It begins with asking better questions. It begins with listening before judging. So whether you're a student, a policymaker, or someone curious about the world, study the past, learn about cultures, read across borders, because ignorance of history is never neutral. And understanding others may be the smartest move any of us can make. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please leave comments below.